Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, I mean, the title of this, it will be something clickbaity like the Stephen Wilson problem. Again, that's just probably just to get the views because, hey, clickbait. The Stephen Wilson review for Future Bites has done well. I suspected it would do, but again, it always throws up the constant problem that I encounter with doing reviews on YouTube and just reviews in general. The reason I did the Future Bites review, I wasn't going to do it. Wasn't going to do it because I knew I wasn't going to like it, because as years go by, Stephen Wilson's output has become more feeble and anemic as time has gone on. And I've been overly generous to that album. I was overly generous because if I said what I really thought, the shitstorm probably would have been so far, would have been just too big for me to deal with. So I actually toned it back. I was actually being quite reserved. But you get the same old. Why did you review it if you didn't like it? Again, this is something we need to address on YouTube and the culture of, well, not just social media, but the culture of music and criticism in general. And this is that's why this video exists. One of the reasons I did the Stephen Wilson review is because of the 5-star reviews that certain magazines were already putting forward for it. And we've got to, I mean, God, this started at the beginning of the millennia. That's when I stopped buying the music press, because I was finding that music reviews were becoming very samey, and I was just buying music magazines for the interviews. The review section I could do without. And so I just stopped buying the likes of Q and Mojo and whatever else there was. Stopped buying them because I was only reading half the magazine. You know, so and this has gone forward, and we see nothing but like positive reviews for mediocre albums, mediocre music. My problem is, I love music. I'm passionate about it, he says, and I make music. It's my hobby. It's what I do. It's what I love, and this is what gets me into trouble, because I love music more than you do. You know, when you criticise my reviews, and this is the problem, because you don't love music. I do. I have a critical faculty that you lack, and this is the problem with a lot of fans these days. Up until, I don't know, 20 years ago, if you were a fan, you'd buy a record, you'd be invested in it, but you didn't love every record your favourite band put out. There'd be a point where you go, that record doesn't speak to me, I don't like that record. You'd move on, or you'd come back, you know. But nowadays, and I think this is fueled by the music press, is once you're in, you have to love everything, you have to love every album. And I think people are blinded to this. They don't, like I say, they don't have any critical faculty. You get some people, again, some people regarding like Stephen Wilson, we use him as the prime example, for we're going to title this video after him, will say, I don't like this because blah blah blah, and they'll do it on social media, and then they'll get jumped upon because, you know, the hardcore fandom will take umbrage at you having an opposing view. And this happens all the time, and again, it's born out of social media as well. In my own experience, I've been, you know, insulted, threatened by artists because the review didn't get the 5 stars that they expected, because, you know, they do an album and magazines give them 5-star reviews, album of the year material, when it truly isn't. It truly isn't, unless, you know, like I said, I'm wrong, and I can't be wrong. I can't be wrong all the time. You know, I've been, like I say, banned from Facebook groups because of me trying to be the voice of reason, because people take being a fan so seriously. And it's the echo chamber effect that you see in politics is now in fandom, and it's all kinds of fandom, not just music, but film, sport, you name it. We have this thing. We have this lack of critical ability and a lack of taking on criticism and actually letting it open your mind a little bit, you know. And that video I did was, again, mainly to confront you as a fan who's been drip fed these 5-star reviews over all these years, to actually make you think, hey, wait a minute, maybe this guy's got a point, or at least maybe get you to actually respect my opinion. But it doesn't happen. One chap wrote a very lengthy comeback, I suppose. He took me down to Chinatown. I'm not going to go through it, but it's the same old points you get, and it gets a bit boring, right? And I want to address them because it's it's a bit tiring. I mean, they say, they always start with, was this a review? Yeah, it was a review. Why did you do it if you didn't like it, or you don't like the artist, or you're biased, etc. I want to be proven wrong. I want to be surprised. I want to, get an album and like it. I don't like doing the negative reviews, not because I don't like doing them, but because of the comeback. Because there's always this kind of lashback, telling you you're wrong, telling you this, and it's like something I can't really be bothered with. And I could sit here and I could slag off albums day after day. There are many people I could target, and I could make a reputation for myself on this platform for just slagging people off, and people would come and watch, and I get the traffic for that. But usually I tend to make videos about albums I've discovered or things I enjoy, and I put them out there, overtly positive reviews usually. But though some people say, why do you always do negative reviews? Because that's all they tune in for. It's a great contradiction. But the problem with those videos is they don't get watched, because you're not interested in new music. You're not interested in being taken down different avenues of discovery. You're only interested in more of the same. You're only interested in more of Steven Wilson, and that's fine. That's okay. But don't pretend that you're into music or into progressive music if all you want is more of the same. If you don't want your opinions challenged, don't pretend that you're any way of a music fan, because you're not. And this guy says that I should have done some research. Why do I need to research an album before I listen to it? If I do that, I will colour my opinion of the album. I don't want to do that. I want it to be my reaction to the album, and I'm prepared to be wrong for that, because I want my reviews and my opinions to have a purity to them, to have an honesty to them. And the people that follow me understand that. The people that come in Tuesday nights on the live stream and have a chat, again, if you've got an issue with me, come on the live stream, we can talk about it, and you can talk to me rather than the reviewer, and maybe we can come and find some common ground. But I'm digressing here. There are a lot of interviews. Wilson's done an awful lot of media for this. I'm not interested in that, because if I start reading those reviews, then Wilson's words will come out of my mouth when I do the review, and I don't want that. And that's a reason why he's doing this. If you have to go on a camera or on a magazine and explain what your songs are about, you have failed as an artist. You've failed. If you're a true artist, your song should be open to interpretation, and there should be not one true meaning to your song. There should be a level of ambiguity and a level of what's the word? They should have a meaning to the listener that the listener adopts, right? Unless, of course, they're overtly the meaning is overt. Like a political song like Biko by Pico, with stuff like that. Something that's spelt out, obvious. Just using that because that's all I can think of at the time being, because I've done no research. I never do my research, because that's not what I'm about. I'm about this. I'm about thinking. I'm about, being spontaneous. So yeah. And so this guy tells me I'm wrong, that my interpretation is wrong. See again. That's not what music or culture should be about. When you look at art in an art gallery, it can have one meaning, but the meaning can also be, it can be objective and subjective. That's what I meant. My brain had to catch up. I hadn't had a coffee. Need my sugar rush. So for me to, do the research and listen to loads of interviews would fail in what I'm trying to achieve. Okay. Also, I'm incredibly lazy. And again, perhaps dig a little deeper than streaming the album. This is a guy that used to buy all the box sets from Steven Wilson and used to read all the liner notes. It didn't get me anywhere, and I'm not doing it this time. I'm not doing it anymore. We stopped that game. That game's ended. Okay. I streamed the album again because it came to me the 11th hour that I should do a review because of the overtly positive reviews I was reading and some of them are bizarre claims that I'm still reading. I read one review and I was drawing comparisons with Pink Floyd. I think even Dark Side of the Moon has been mentioned by some online critics or commenters, which just makes me balk. I'm sorry, you can't draw such comparisons because the culture is diluted. Not deluded. Diluted. Sorry, again, my coffee. I need my coffee fix. Instant coffee. That annoys you. So you have stuff like this, and then there's the old. You didn't listen to it enough. You've got to listen to it. You've got to listen to it a lot to get it. No. Especially if it's meant to be a pop album. Pop is meant to be instantly accessible. It's meant to go into your head, have a hook, and mean something on the first listen. It's meant to grab your attention and go, wow, what's that? Again, we don't have music like that. There are very few songs that come along these days that do that push those buttons because our culture has been diluted. And, music doesn't mean what it used to be. It's lost its value. And that's due to bad songwriting. It's down to people like Steven Wilson being lauded when he is not a good songwriter. His lyrics are facile. His music is, in this album, it's just talking over a beat, isn't it, these days? And that's fine. That's fine if you want to do that music, that kind of music, that style. That's fine. But it doesn't speak to me. If it speaks to you, again, that's fine. But I'm talking from my perspective. You can't just spurt out a load of catchphrases and buzzwords and expect it to mean something. Again, I don't know if this is a good comparison, but Sparks have a really good song out at the moment called iPhone, which deals with similar topics, that this album deals with. But their song iPhone, and it's electronic, and it uses synthesizers, hits the spot and has a meaning and has a passion and has, it does the job so much better than anything on this album. Go listen to it. It goes on because I said about, mentions, it says, am I a producer? Well, yes and no. I've dabbled. I record music. Again, for those people who don't know, I record music as my hobby. It's what I do, and the internet has allowed me to release that music to the unsuspecting public for how many years it's been, 20 odd years, and it's something I continue to do. I've never had any aspiration to get a record deal or go pro. It's my hobby. It's something that I enjoy, and I like doing that. I am a music producer. I do know how to put a record together. I do know how to put a song together. I do know how to record. I do know what sounds good and what sounds bad. Go to music.darrenknock.com for further details. There's at least one song on there that you will enjoy. I can say that because I've put together nearly 43 albums worth of material, and I'm sure just by statistics alone there will be something on there that you will enjoy. Again, it's a hobby that I've had, and music production is something that I really enjoy and I really dig. And when I hear an album like this, I find it kind of dead. And people say, well, that's the point. That's the point. It's meant to be like, it's meant to be empty. That's the point. And you just get the feeling that's just a get out. It's just a get out every time, because you can do albums about isolation and an alienation, and they can be rich sounding. Just go and listen to The Wall by Pink Floyd, for Christ's sake. I think the sparsity of this production is because there's no music there. It's an empty record, and again, that's fine. But when it's a whole record like it gets a bit wearing. Okay. So yeah, this guy reviews my review as poorly researched. Again, why should I research an album? That's not the point. It's the point of if this person would have lived in the 70s and 80s and actually read the music press then, they would have had an apoplexy, because music reviewers, you listen to records, they reacted to them, and they told the kids whether an album was good or bad, because the kids spent their pocket money on it, and they, trusted the reviewer to guide them through the bland and the boring to get them to the good stuff. People trusted, going onto the radio. I'm not a big fan of him, but they trusted people like John Peel, to be an arbiter of taste, to guide you down these alleyways. Not that I'm putting myself in the same column as him. I wouldn't, because he used to like getting blowjobs from schoolgirls. That's not my scene, man. But I like to, for the people that follow me, I like to take you places. I like to guide you. So it is poorly researched, because I don't research reviews. That's ridiculous. Again, people come to YouTube and they see video essays where these nobodies go on Wikipedia and spout a load of guff and edit loads of clips together and pass it off as their own material. But they have more credence because they've done the research rather than actually knowing the topic they're talking about. And there's an awful lot of bullshit on YouTube, myself included, but those who follow me understand where I'm coming from. Uninteresting. Oh, no, that's unfair. I would never say one of my videos is uninteresting. It's always good fun. There's always something in it. You see, my video was so uninteresting. This guy wrote 6 paragraphs in his comment. That's how uninteresting my video was. And of course, they always end with the classic, "I'll never get that 20 minutes of my life back." And neither will I reading your comment. So there's been a transaction there. We're equal. Are we not equal? Because your comment was facile and boring and uninspired. And again, you show your dimness because you don't understand what a review is. Unless a review is 5 stars and blowing smoke up the arse of these musicians, and I'm using that term loosely because these people aren't musicians, they're shysters. And I think Wilson has been pulling the wool over your eyes for many years now. Remember, he started out as a Pink Floyd bloody tribute, fake band, and pulled it off, But yeah, he can sell out at the Royal Albert Hall. But in the same instance, someone like Nick Drake wouldn't have been out of Philly's local pub when he was at the height of his career. So, and the guy makes that comment about, "Oh, someone said you don't hear his music on the radio. Is that a marker of success?" Yes and no. Yes and no. Yes and no. But yeah, just because you sell out the Royal Albert Hall doesn't mean you're any good. There are many worse bands that sell out the Albert Hall, and there are some bands that can't sell out the Albert Hall who deserve more credit. So it swings and roundabouts, it's ups and downs. I would never use that as an indicator of a successful musician. Hey, take Robbie Basho, who I'm championing at the moment. I don't think he'd sell out the Royal Albert Hall either. Mind you, he's dead. So there you go, a bit like Nick Drake in that respect. So yeah, again, if you are coming to this video, and I doubt you will be, because it'll only be the hardcore fans that watch this, and they'll be cheering me because I'm just preaching to the choir. I rue the lack of critical ability in people these days. I'm depressed that nobody understands what a review is. It upsets me that opinions appear to be only like one way. You know, you can have your opinion, but I'm not allowed to have mine. You know, I'd never say. I mean, I'd say, you know, I'd say you're wrong, but you know, I'd let you have your opinion because it's your opinion. I'm not here to change your mind. I'm just here to maybe open your mind slightly to something else, to a different way of looking at things. That's what I'm here for. But people don't get that. People don't understand, and you know, they want to insult and they just don't. And that's it comes with the territory. That's social media for you, you know. And it doesn't work. You know, you're wasting your time because I've been doing this for too long, right? What gives you the right to do this? Well, you know, I'm a trained journalist, don't you know? Though I haven't worked in the media for a long time now. Mainly because I became a bit mainly I got made redundant, but I became disenfranchised by doing reviews. I used to do work in computer magazines, and once I reviewed this antivirus software, and I didn't give it a 5-star review. I criticised it. I said this is the average consumer would find this difficult to use, blah 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 blah. And the marketing director of that company was still harassing me. Something like 6 to 9 months after I'd been made redundant and moved on, I was still getting emails. He found my personal email address and was still coming at me about this review I'd written. And that was in the real world. And, you know, and that was without the time I reviewed something. And the editor said to me, you're going to have to change the review because we've got an advert on the opposing page. You know, so I had to bump my review up and change a few paragraphs because there was a review. The review was opposite the advert. You know, this is why I become so disenfranchised with the media, because they have to do this. Many internet reviewers and interviewers and critics blow smoke up the arse because they want access to their favourite stars, so they can suck them off virtually and record the content that you can watch and thumbs up and thumbs down. They just do it for access. They never ask any meaty questions. They never get to the bones of it because they would be too scared to, because they know the interview would end and they would never have access again. You know, that's what it's about. It's about access. It's about getting adverts in the magazines. It's about getting support from the artists. It's one hand washing the other, and I cannot do that, and I won't do that, and I won't compromise myself. You know, and that's what you come for when you watch one of my awful, boring and poorly researched, bland, uninteresting, you know, crap reviews, right? That's what you come here for, is an honest opinion, okay? And I should have been harder on the Future's shite, because that album is just, you know, it's average to below average, you know. If I really cared, it would be a 1-star review, because I don't understand how it can be 5 stars. I really don't. If that album's 5-star reviews, then what I'm working on at the moment is, you know, I'm working on the next Sgt. Pepper's, you see. But, you know, you wouldn't agree, but that's how I see it. It's got to the point where music is so bad now that I seriously consider what I'm working on to be better. And that is either I'm deluded or I've gone mad. You know, I'm a bit worried. I'm a bit worried for my health, you know, because I don't have any belief in what I do. I just do it for the fun, and I do it as a test of my ability, and because I like production and mixing, and I really get turned on by that. But when I hear the Future Bites and just how bad it is now, you know, I just don't get it. I don't get it, and it's, you know, it's a shame that the music is as dull as it is these days, and you know, and the good stuff is buried, and you've got to dig for it, and the mediocre stuff is lauded and celebrated, and that's that. But anyway, my opinion's wrong and right at the same time, the same as yours. Your opinion is both right and wrong. But if we can, I don't know, be civil, you know, agree to disagree, we can move on. But if I've managed to open your mind just a little bit, or maybe you've clicked onto another maybe you've clicked on and discovered Robbie Basho, then my job has been, you know, it's been successful, because I really want to get you turned on to other things, and you know, show you a different world of music that you might not necessarily know about, or you might not have come across just yet. But yeah, reviewers stink, I stink, commenters stink, we all stink. I think that's the only conclusion we can draw from this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, Tuesday nights we do the live stream where you can come and talk to me and we can have fun. The real Darren will reveal himself and we can have a nice chat and be that. I thought I'd promote. I don't ever really promote it enough, do I really? But anyway, thank you. I just thought I'd get this brain fart out of the way, and yeah, thanks for watching. There's only one more thing left to say, and that is ta-da.